Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to come in really quick to tell you a learning lesson that I had before you see this video coming up of the smothered pork chop marsala. Okay, I was actually watching Reed Drummond on Pioneer Woman, and she did pork chop marsala. I've always heard of chicken marsala, and I've never really been a fan of marsala, but the meal was an easy meal she did. So I was like, well, I can kind of recreate that, in my own way. And so I did. Now, the reason I'm here right now, before you see the actual me cooking the pork chop marsala, is because I have, okay, so me and my girlfriends, we always meet at a particular restaurant when we each get together. One of my girlfriends in particular loves chicken marsala. So I would always, like, we taste each other dishes. And when I would taste hers, I would like it. I never ordered it, but it was always like this really savory dish to me, and I could tell like that Marsala wine in the background. So what I did was, when I went to the store to get my products, my groceries to make my pork marsala, first thing I went and bought was this. This is a Marsala cooking wine. And so when I got back home, I am known to taste all of my foods, okay? So when I got back home, I immediately opened this and I tasted it, and I was like, this is sweet. And I said, this can't be right. So I went, because all I could think of when I taste her dish, it was very savory. So then I went and I said, let me go get the real Marsala wine, because I'm just not sure. And you guys may already know this. I did not, okay? So I went and bought Marsala wine. As you can see, most of this is gone, but this is Marsala wine. And so I immediately got back home and I got this wine. I opened it, I tasted, and it was sweet. And I was like, what in the world? So literally, you guys, these both are very similar. You can tell with the cooking wine, it tastes a little bit, you can taste the vinegar in the background of this. But they are so similar that don't make the mistake I did. You can use either or, okay? So when I cooked with this, the meal came out delicious. It was not sweet. It was not overly sweet at all. It was just like a little hint of sweet in the background. I didn't know Marsala wine was that sweet. So it was a learning lesson for me. I just thought I'd share. And once you start seasoning and you get your flavorings in there, it's not sweet at all. I was kind of scared because I just I thought it was going to make the dish sweet. And in my mind, I knew it was a savory dish. Once everything came together, it was absolutely savory. It was full of flavor and a great dish, and it was quick and it was easy for my family. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you like it. Just let me know what you think. Thank you. And please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe if you like what you're seeing. I appreciate you guys. Love you. Stay strong, be blessed, and be safe. Bye-bye. So you're going to start with the pork chops of your choice. I actually chose the center cut, thin cut pork chops, as well as baby Bella whole mushrooms that I cut. Of course, here's the Marsala wine that I used. Some of the seasonings I used are right here in front of you. That on the side is a paleo powder. It's like an all-purpose seasoning. And I lightly seasoned the pork chops, okay, with everything that I like. So I started my cast iron skillet with some, you guessed it, some bacon grease, okay? So I used bacon grease in my cast iron, and I got it heated with a pat of butter. That is about a tablespoon of butter. And you want to just let it melt down, get your pan hot. It doesn't have to be screeching hot. And this pan is really large. As you can see, it takes up like almost 2 eyes on my stove, 2 of the heating sources on the top. So I kind of pushed the cast iron up some so that it can get heated on both ends. And from there, I said lightly season, but season your chops, y'all. Don't not season them good, because you're going to lightly flour your chops. That's what I intended to say. You're going to season your chops good, but you're going to lightly flour them. And you're just going to lay them down, and you don't have to use bacon grease. Actually, Ree Drummond, on her show, she used olive oil and about a tablespoon of butter. But I had bacon grease, so I used that. And I just thought it would, add an extra dimension of flavor to the dish. So as you can see here, I'm just laying my chops in my pan, and I'm going to let them start to saute in my large pan. One thing too that the Pioneer Woman did, she poured her pork masala chops over pasta. I did not. I made actual mashed potatoes to go with the chops. And I'm pretty sure you guys, if you're doing keto, you want to omit the flour that I put on these chops and just saute them naked, okay? So while those started to cook, I'm showing you here where I'm just kind of like checking my chops to turn them. They don't have to cook all the way done, you guys. You just want to get a brown on them, because once they get brown, you're going to put them to the side. But before that, here, I washed the mushrooms off. And I'm just slicing them and throwing them into a bowl over on the side there. You can't really see my bowl. So after I washed them, I just took those baby bellas, and they were pretty big. They were not super small. So, but I like meaty mushrooms, so I didn't want to chop them up too tiny. I wanted them to be, they have a presence in this dish. They're not a side, but they have a presence with that pork chop. And also, I just cut up some onion in with my mushrooms. And this actually will go, once I take those chops out, it will go in the same pan. And you'll see that shortly. Here, I'm just going at it. So here you can see me just assessing my chops and taking them out of the cast iron skillet that I'm using. I actually am just, turning them a little bit, some of them, because I noticed when I use this very large cast iron, the cooking is not even, because it's literally on like two separate eyes on the stove. So I just have to be careful, making sure I turn my pan to make sure the chops got even. So I took them off. And here you can see I just added those mushrooms and those onions that I cut up. You want to put them right over into that same pan that you sauteed those chops in, because that is your flavor in the bottom of there. You see me like moving those mushrooms and onions around in that pan, because I want them to pick up all of that seasoned bits that are down. That's all goodness. And I know y'all hear that all the time, but it is absolutely real. If you want to build the flavor in your dish, do that. So I noticed here that my pan was getting a little bit too dry, so I added a little bit of olive oil, and I added a little bit of I can't believe it's not butter. You don't have to do that, but I did just to kind of help pick up some of those flavors off of the bottom of the pan and not have my pan too dry. You want to let these saute down, and you want to season them. So you're going to season pretty much every layer of this dish. So there you see me adding a little bit of that lemon pepper seasoning. I don't know if you could tell, but I did add a little salt and a little bit of pepper. Here, I want to say I added a little bit of onion powder and garlic powder as well. Did I do that? Let me see. Yeah, there it is. I don't know if you can catch that sprinkle right there, but I did. I added a little bit of onion powder and garlic powder, just a little bit to this layer as well. And I just want it to cook down. I just want to cook not all the way down, but you want for it to become softened. You want your onions to become softened. And here I'm adding the Marsala wine. I added 1.5 cups of Marsala wine. I actually measured it, you guys. That's not like me. So I did. I actually measured it, and then I had some chicken stock left over. So I also added the chicken stock over into the pan, and that was about 1/2 cup of chicken stock. And from there, I just let it just go to town. I just let it start cooking and building that flavor, and you'll see it just start to bubble when it gets to a certain level. So from there, I tasted it and I realized I wanted a little bit more pepper. And then you see I added a little bit more onion powder. And I want to say I added some garlic powder. I did. And some garlic powder to it. And you just want to stir it in and make sure things are in there, and taste it. Taste it as you go, because you want it to taste how you want it to taste. As that wine reduces with that chicken stock, it just builds a really good flavor. And so from there, once it reduces some, then you want to add your heavy whipping cream. Now this right here is really up to you. I pretty much used about 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream. You don't have to use that much. Just use it to your liking, okay? Taste it. I would rather you put less and build on it versus putting too much and then now you gotta, it won't work out. So just add a little bit at a time. Add about, take a little bit, like 1/3 cup at a time, until it is to your liking. So from there, I just added my pork chops back down in there, and I'm going to let them simmer because my chops are not all the way done. Remember, I said I just browned them. So it's going to take some time for them to cook and get tender and soft. I just wanted to show you guys a little quick secret with my mashed potatoes. When you're boiling your potatoes, add you some garlic cloves in there. It'll take your potatoes to a whole nother level. Okay, that's it. And here they are. These are the chops after I had taken them. They had cooked, and I put them in the oven to finish off for about 15 minutes. And here you have it. A delicious, oh my goodness, smack your mama meal. It is delicious, you guys. I hope you try it. So please do make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much.